Hello everyone! If you're watching this video, then it means that my second book, my novelette, has come out. So if you haven't checked out my new book, be sure to do that. There'll be links down in the description, as well as a blurb of what the book is about, and a link, can't forget, to the vlog where I actually wrote this book. So I did a vlog, what feels like forever ago, on my channel where I was actually writing this book. And now I've published this book. I didn't think at the time that I was going to be publishing it, which I didn't for a long time, but now I have, and you can go find it on Amazon. Unfortunately, I don't have the actual finished book to show you. This has just got that ugly not for resale banner on there because my author copies aren't here yet. I actually haven't ordered my author copies yet. But yeah, I'm super excited, and be sure to go check that out if you like clean Christian fairy tale with just a dash of romance. So while we're on the topic of this book, I thought I would let you guys know just how much money I spent publishing this book. And of course, I don't have the exact number in front of me, but it was almost nothing. I published this book for almost free. Now, normally, I do not recommend that because, as I learned with my first book, sometimes whenever you're trying to save money, you end up cutting corners that you really shouldn't cut. But with this book, I had learned some things, obviously, after my debut release, so I was able to not necessarily spend more, but still get more help on it. So I didn't have to do as many of the things all by myself. So I'm going to be sharing with you the 6 things that I did to save money on this book and pay almost nothing. The only thing that I paid for was the ISBN and this proof copy that I'm holding in my hand. That's it. Okay, so the first thing that I did so that I could publish this book for next to nothing was I used free editing resources. Specifically, I used beta readers and family members to help me edit this book. So I did beta readers for the first time, which was actually a surprisingly overwhelming experience, even though I only ended up having 3 beta readers actually get back with me because I'm not used to dealing with that kind of feedback about my book, and I almost got so stuck that I just wasn't going to publish it at all. But I digress. I powered through that, I got through the beta readers, and I realized that was actually a really helpful resource because it showed me that I needed to add a couple scenes, fix a couple things, do a little bit more showing versus telling, and of course those are things that a lot of times an editor would tell you. So in that sense, my beta readers helped to serve as an editor. Another thing that served as an editor type thing, or they were the editor, were my family members. So both my dad and my brother were gracious enough to read through this book and give proofreading notes. In fact, this is actually the proofreading copy, so there's all kinds of notes in here. But that meant that if I had missed something or there was something that made sense to me but didn't really make sense whenever other people read it that my beta readers hadn't caught, it was going to be caught and I could fix it. So that was something that I should have done with book 1, with my first book. I should have gotten beta readers, and I should have asked for the help of my brother and my dad, even though at the time I was just like, I just want to get this baby out, I don't want to ask for help, I just want to do it, I'm not going to pay for editing, so I'll just edit it myself. Yeah, don't make that mistake. There is a difference between self-editing and just doing it completely on your own, and doing it completely on your own is not a good idea, because sometimes when you read the same thing over and over again, things start to make sense to you that don't necessarily make sense to other people. So I actually have unlisted my video that I did on how I self-edited this book because I've changed my process, and now, despite, the fact that I did edit that book, I would not recommend editing a book all by yourself. At least get some beta readers and maybe a family member or friend to help you proofread after you get the developmental tips back from your beta readers. The second thing that I did was I used an ISBN number that I already had. Like I said, basically the only thing I really had to pay for with this book was the ISBN, but technically I didn't even have to pay for it during the process of publishing this book because I already owned the rights to that ISBN. I bought a 10-pack of ISBNs whenever I published free, which might have been excessive in retrospect, but that allowed me to just assign one of my ISBNs to this book and call it good. If you don't want to buy your own ISBN, you can get free ISBNs through Kindle Direct Publishing. I also got my barcode through Kindle Direct Publishing. Barcodes normally cost extra money on the ISBN website, and I was like, I don't want to spend extra money. I'll just get mine through KDP. There is one little catch where sometimes the barcode will have a little extra thingy above it or something, just because Amazon put it there. I don't know if it's keeping track of something, you know, in their inventory or whatever, but I was willing to pay the price of potentially having an extra black line above my barcode or whatever in exchange for not having to actually pay for my barcode, because like I said, I'm a broke college student and I did not want to spend a lot of money. I did want to put out more books though, but I didn't want to spend a lot of money, so I had to find somewhere in the middle. The barcode was actually the third thing on my list of 6 things, which now I realize I've already addressed, so I'll move on to the 4th thing, which was, since I designed the cover myself, I gave myself plenty of time so I could experiment. So if you are on a really tight budget and you can't afford a cover designer, which I do recommend that if at all possible you do get a cover designer. I want to have one someday. I unfortunately have not yet had the money to do that. But in the event that, like me, you just simply can't afford a cover designer, give yourself lots of time to experiment. I'm considering doing a series here on my YouTube channel about some things that I've learned regarding cover design. As you can probably tell, I've come a long way from my first cover design to my second cover design, obviously other than the fact that this one has actual pictures on it. But I might share some of those things that I've learned with you guys, just in case you do need to design the book cover yourself as well. But if you do that, give yourself plenty of time. You could even create book covers for like old work in progress ideas that you never finished just to get practice, or just create a random specific genre book cover that could go with any title, like a blank book cover template basically. What that will allow you to do is figure out the basic elements of cover design and then revisit your book with a little bit more knowledge and help it be a little bit more professional. Number 5, I did not do paperback pre-orders. So if you were watching the vlog series that I did when I was publishing free, paperback pre-orders were a real pain, because I did not know when I set up pre-order that Amazon does not do paperback pre-orders. They just do ebook pre-orders. So I did not do paperback pre-orders with this book, because then I would have to publish the book, the paperback, and then buy author copies, unpublish it so that people can't buy it other than me, and then I'd have to pay for shipping, and I would have to take the time to ship, collect all the people's information, you know, keep track of who's paid me through PayPal, you know, have I gotten all that yet? And it was nice to do the paperback pre-orders because, like, I knew, hey, this is how many people are definitely going to be getting my book on release day. But I decided that for the most part, at least right now, that's just not worth it when I can just wait and have people buy the paperback on the day of release. So if you want to save yourself a little bit of time and money, skipping paperback pre-orders can be a good idea if you have to be doing the pre-orders yourself because you're just selling through Amazon. So the 6th and final money-saving tip that I'm going to share with you is not to do pre-order incentives. So even though I didn't do the paperback pre-order, I did do an ebook pre-order over on Amazon, and with free, I did an incentive for people who pre-ordered. They got some little bookish goodies and stuff like that, but those things cost money, and I actually for one of the items, paid an artist to create that item for me, and it was gorgeous. I loved it. I'm glad I did it, but it was expensive. So by skipping that and just having people pre-order just because they want to pre-order is better if you want to save more money and try to make your break-even point not quite so high. So those are my 6 tips. Use free editing resources like beta readers and friends. Use a free ISBN or an ISBN that you already have. Use a free Amazon barcode for your paperback. Give yourself time to design a cover if you can't afford the cover, because that way, instead of necessarily paying for it with money, you are paying with more time, which, again, if you're not a professional cover designer, doesn't really work out, you know, this for that. But it's still good to give yourself time to do it if it's not something you normally do. Number 5, I didn't do paperback pre-orders, and number 6, I didn't do pre-order incentives. So even though these are all things that have benefits like to them if you do the paid route, sometimes you just need to save a little bit of money so that you can continue putting out books and not be stuck because you spent so much money on your last book that you can't afford to publish another one for like forever. So that's all the tips I have for today. If you haven't bought my book yet over on Amazon, please do check it out. I think you'll like it. I made this story a little bit more appealing, I feel like, to a broader audience than Free, simply because it's more of like a fantasy vibe. Obviously, you know, there's a dragon in it and whatnot. It was fun to release a fairy tale. I don't really write fairy tales much anymore, but I used to love them, so it was kind of nice to do something like that again. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and happy writing. Get out there and write the story that God called you to write. Bye-bye.